Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Futurama Season 1, Episode 2 of my show, but this is about Episode 1 of the series. Now, Episode 1 in the original, in the Futurama series, now this is, you know how every series actually has like a pilot episode? Well, this first episode is sort of the pilot. But the titling for it is different. It's called Space Pilot 3000, which I think is kind of another way to put it because, because they use a spaceship as a delivery ship. I just wanted to get it out of the way. Anyway, basically the way this episode starts off is, Fry in the year 1999, like before the year 2000, before he gets frozen, is playing this arcade game, and he's like, space, it seems to go on and on forever. But then you get to the end and the monkey starts throwing barrels at you, and then when it gets hit by one of the boxes, he says and gets to try that. When he says that's how he plays the game, and then the kid tells him he stinks and calls him a loser, and then Mr. Panucci's like,
"Hey, Fry, pizza going out. Come on!"
But and then Fry gets a little disappointed by that, and oh my god, I'm sorry. He gets a little disappointed that he has to deliver a pizza on New Year's Eve, and then while he's delivering the pizza, he sees he's riding his bike to deliver the pizza, and basically what happens is that while he's doing that, he sees his girlfriend, which is Michelle, with someone else in the car, and then he wonders what she's doing, and then she says that it's not working out, and then as the car drives away, she tells him that she left his things out on the sidewalk, and then after Fry sees that part of it, he keeps pedaling towards the destination, which is the Applied Cryogenics lab in his timeline, and he keeps repeating himself over and over. He's like, I hate my life, I hate my life, I hate my life, I hate my life, and then basically when he gets there, he's like, hello, pizza delivery here for, and then he opens the piece of paper, and then he sees that it says I.C. Wheeler, which is the thing that I'll explain more about that when I get to the segments with Nibbler. I just wanted to get that out of the way, though. And then when Fry reads it, he's like, oh, crud. I always thought at this point in my life, I'd be the one making the crank calls. Oh, and then he says, here's to another, then he sits in a chair and is about to drink a beer, and he's like, here's to another lousy millennium. And then they start doing the New Year's Eve countdown, and then what it does is it shows the countdown in different languages in different countries, and then when it gets to the one part, he basically blows on this joy machine thing, like this blow thing that he has. You know, those blow things people have for parties, like those streamer things, like, you know, like you go, and it makes the noise when you blow into it, and because of that, he starts to fall over, and he falls into a cryogenic tube, and he gets frozen, and he's like, what the, and then he freezes, and then basically he's stuck in there for about 1,000 years. For 1,000 years, and so basically life on the Earth continues going on and on up until the time where he's unfrozen, which is the year 3000. And each time it does, it shows different points in time, and about different periods in time, and then the periods in time getting destroyed by aliens and so on and so forth. And then Fry wakes up in the year 3000 after getting unfrozen, and he sees that, and he's like, oh. 1,000 years. my parents, my co-workers, my girlfriend. I'll never see anything again. And he's like, wahoo! And then, after he gets woken up by that, the science, two of the scientists in the applied cryogenics, the blonde-haired one, he's like, welcome to the world of tomorrow. And then basically, the other one that walks in with them and saying, do you always have to say that when we come in? And then basically, they tell Fry that after he's been unfrozen that he has to be given his permanent career assignment, so they ask him to go wait while the counselor comes in, and the counselor in this case is Leela, and basically what happens is, when he goes to where she is, she's saying welcome to him, and then basically Fry gets done by the one eye basically, and then what happens is she's wondering if he has anything to say about her eye and stuff, and then he says that he doesn't, but then he's wondering what is it with the eye, and then she's saying that he's an alien and stuff, and then Fry wonders if see this again, which is not true because he's just working there at the applied cryogenics lab. Anyway, then they go into the then while Leela's getting some papers ready for Fry to get his permanent career assignment thing done, Fry sees on the screen that he's like, hey, is that right? And then Leela says that it is right. It's December 31st, 2999. And then Fry gets astounded by that because it means he's been cryogenically frozen for 1,000 years. And then Leela basically says that she's sure that this is a bit of a disappointment to him, like a shock kind of thing, because anyone who gets frozen in one timeline and then it reawakens in another, it does kind of seem like it can startle people. But Fry basically tells her that honestly it doesn't, because he didn't like his old life. He had a dead-end job, sort of like non-intended parents, and he had a feeling that his girlfriend was cheating on him, which is true. And then basically Leela basically tells him that at least here he'll be treated with some dignity. And this is the funny part of it. She tells him to, after that, she tells him to strip naked and stand on the probulator. Now the probulator is used to basically, in the series, it's basically used to find in this case, a genetic match to the person that's on it, if they have any living relatives in that timeline. And after doing that, Leela sees that Fry has one living relative, which is his great nephew, Professor Farnsworth. And then after that, they go to get the permanent career assignment thing, and then Fry's saying that basically he thinks that everything's gonna be okay, but then he's wondering what that sound was, and then Leela says that it's his permanent career assignment, and he sees that it's a delivery boy, and he gets upset by that. He's a delivery boy? No, not again, please, anything but that. Because I think the whole delivery boy thing, I think he's partially in the series. I think when I watched it on TV and when I watched it on Disney Plus, he was attributing his misery to the misery that happened in his life, to the point that his delivery boy job had something to do with it, like he was trying to control Phil, but which is, I don't know. It was never specified why he thought it was because of his job that he was so miserable. I don't know. It was never stated. But anyway, after that he's saying and please anything else, and then Leela says that she can't because he's been given the job he's best at, and then basically he says that what if he doesn't want it, and then she says that he'll be fired. But I think that's okay because he thinks the word fired isn't a bad thing, but Leela says that he'll be fired out of a cannon into the sun, basically. Oh my god. And then basically what happens is she tries to put his career chip on him, but then he said that he wants. And when she goes to put the career chip on him, she said to firm the because she doesn't have good depth perception because of the one eye thing. And basically, what happens is he tries telling her to keep that thing away from him, and then basically, while trying to get the chip on him, she falls into the cryogenic tube, and then before she gets frozen, she said that she'll count. And when she's done counting, he better get her out of the cryogenic tube. But just as she starts counting, that's when the cryogenic tube starts getting her frozen for 1,000 years. And then I was like, see you in 1,000 years. And then basically, as he starts to walk away, he's starting to feel, I guess you could call it a little bit of sympathy for her. So he basically lowers the time that she's frozen for, and he's like, then he tells her like, you owe me one, and then basically he leaves the cryogenic lab and starts running around the New York City in the year 3000, like in 2099. The year before the year 3000, because this portion of the episode takes place on December 31st, 2999, which is almost before the year 3000. Anyway, basically what happens is after that, they basically what happens is after that, while Fry's running around, he sees this tube thing, which is like this tube transportation thing where you have to say a voice where you want to go for it and stuff, and then after he sees what one of them does, and he goes into the tube, and then he says like Crosstown Express, which is basically just taking him all the way across the future version of New York and stuff. And basically what happens after that is, by this point, Fry then he sees this thing that he thinks is a phone booth, but it's not exactly a phone booth. It's a suicide booth. Well, actually, by this point, Leela is automatically unfrozen because if you guys remember, I said that he had set her cryogenic machines to about 10 or 15 minutes or so because of the fact that it was originally set for 1,000 years, but he turned it back to allow her to, because he was being sympathetic. And while he's waiting at what he thinks is a phone booth, he's actually then really gets unfrozen, and then the guy that does that thing where he says, "Welcome to the world of tomorrow," and then basically Leela's telling her shit happened, and basically her boss at the Applied Cryogenics Lab is telling her that this is unacceptable. She must find this Mr. Fry and give him his career trip at once. But then she mentions that, he obviously doesn't like the job, but then her boss tells her that basically he may not like it, but that's her job to give it to him. And it's his job to make sure that she does her job, whether he likes it or not. And he said that he does like it, and then basically what happens after that is, she starts looking for Fry, and by this point, Fry's with Bender, because they were trying to use this thing what happened was, Fry was looking for a phone booth to try to call Professor Farnsworth, but it didn't work out, because there are actually no phone booths in this timeline, but there are suicide booths, and then basically, that's when Fry sees Bender, and then he's like, wow, a robot, and then, basically, then Bender's like, bite my shiny metal ace, and then he said that it doesn't look that shiny to me, and then basically, he goes into the suicide booth with Bender, because Bender wants to get killed by it, and Fry doesn't know that it isn't a phone booth, it's a suicide booth. He said that he says that he's in a hurry, so why don't they try for a twofer? And basically what happens is after that, the suicide booth had to does this automated voice thing where it tells him that please select the manner of death, which is quick and painless or slow and horrible. But try to and the thing with the twofer thing, I'm just gonna backtrack here. The thing with the twofer thing is Bender used a coin that was attached to a string, so it's and he didn't, and again, Fry didn't know that it's not a phone booth, it's a suicide booth, so when he said that he wanted to place the correct call, I guess the automated voice for the suicide booth took it as slow and horrible, and then Bender basically said that that's a good choice, and then it starts getting the killing machine stuff out, and then it goes into the next scene, and then Bender's wanting the machine to like, come on, kill me already! And then he's like, by the way, my name is Bender.
Hello.
And then, you're getting supper ready?
Yeah, I'm just taking your plates.
Okay. Sorry about that. But anyway, they managed to get out of the suicide booth, and then they go to a bar basically, and then basically Bender is saying that Fry got made to be a delivery boy and that kind of things, and then basically Fry said that he didn't want it, and then basically what happens is after that, Bender starts drinking alcohol because the robots in the year 3000, some reason they need alcohol to function and stuff. And then basically what happens is after that, while they're talking, Fry wonders what Bender was doing in the suicide booth, and then Bender explains that he's a bending unit. He bends things for like construction, like he bends things in half to make things, but he couldn't do the bending anymore once he figured out what they were being made for, which is suicide booths. and then basically, so that's part of the reason I'm guessing why he tried to kill himself was because he couldn't take the fact that his bending was being used to create suicide boobs. Oh my god. Anyway, basically what happens is after that, Fry then sees Leela and he's like, oh no, it's the Cyclops. So they decide to run for it, and then because basically what happens is Leela sees Fry in the liquor joint with Bender, and then Leela contacts the police on her wrist communicator, and then basically the police say that they'll be with her in a few 30 minutes, which is funny because of the fact that they're standing right next to each other. So, and they start chasing after Bender and Fry, and then basically what happens is while they're chasing them, they end up in this head museum, which is the heads of famous people that are without reanimated heads without bodies, and Fry manages to see someone, which is the head of Leonard Nimoy, which is the person that played Spock in the original Star Trek series. And then basically what happens is after he tries to have them do the thing, he says that he doesn't do that thing anymore, which is kind of true because he doesn't have hands anymore. And basically after that, Bender and Fry hide in the head museum in order to get away from the cops and Leela chasing them, and then basically then they head underground into the sewers, and then they find this in the underground ruins. They find the decayed ruins of old New York, which is the New York that Fry is from, and then basically that's when he sees well, what happens is while they were still being chased by the police and everything, they come across these barred windows, basically like a grate kind of thing, and then Fry is wanting Bender to bend them. Well, what basically happens is Fry is wanting Bender to bend them, and Bender says that, "Dream on, skin tube, I only bend for construction purposes." Oh my god, which is funny because he only bends for construction because he bends for constructing machines and stuff, basically. And then Fry explains that he can bend whatever he wants to, and then Bender decides to give it a try, and then basically he tries to bend it, and then he does, but when he bends it, it's not something that he doesn't bend for without a purpose. So like he said, he bends for construction purposes, so he's bending without a purpose this time, so I'm guessing it was a little harder, but he does manage to do it. And then basically what happens is after that, Bender and Fry manage to get to where the decayed ruins of old New York are, and then Fry manages to see the place where he took his girlfriend on their first date, and then basically it does this flashback sequence where he is taking her skating, and then it goes back into the present scene where it's just like a toxified mutant lake now, and then he gets depressed about it, and then everyone from his time is gone, and then that's when Leela shows up, and then Fry gets a little annoyed that she showed up, and then basically, can't she just leave him alone? Can't she see that he's upset that everyone in his timeline is gone and stuff? And then she says that if it's any consolation, she knows what he's going through, and then he says that she doesn't, and then he says he had no family, no home, no nothing, and then how could she know anything about that? And then she says that basically she understands it because she's the only one-eyed alien on the earth, and then basically her parents abandoned her when she was a baby, and she never met them. She knows what it's like to be alone. And then basically, Fry tells Leela that basically, he's not gonna run anymore. If she wants to give him the delivery boy career chip, he can give it to her, and then basically, she can give it to him. But when he thinks he's gonna give it to her, she actually takes out her career chip and says that he wonders what he's doing, and he says that she's quitting, then Fry's wondering why, and then basically, because then she said that because she always wanted to, she just never had a reason until she met him, and then basically what happens is after that, Bender sees them again, and then after that they run from the cops because now he was dating them as a job deserter kind of thing, and then while they're running and still hiding from the cops, basically they're wondering where they can go because Leela's not trying to spoil anything because she says that they're all job deserters, they're unemployed and have nowhere to go, and then that's when Fry says that tries to correct them when he says that they're unemployed, but they have an old nephew of Fry's that they can mooch off of, which is basically hide in his place of business. And then Fry rings the doorbell to the professor's lab, and then the professor doesn't know who he is, and he's like, who are you? And then Fry's like, I'm your dear old Uncle Fry. And then basically, Farnsworth said that he doesn't have an Uncle Fry, and then basically, Bender says that he does now, and then they go into it, and then Farnsworth does this DNA test, and then after he does it, he manages to realizes that he is Fry's nephew, and then basically they try to, and then that's when the police officers get to the door where it is, and then says, "Attention!" The human police officer says, "Attention, job deserters, come out! We have, with your hands up, we have you partially surrounded." And then basically they're wondering if they can get away in his ship, and then Farnsworth is saying that he supposes that it is possible, but although he is in his pajamas, and then which is his lab coat and everything. Anyway, what happens is after that, they get in the ship and they start doing the countdown. And while they're doing the countdown on their end, the city of New York is doing the countdown to the year 3000 as well. So when they do the countdown, it does that countdown, same thing at the beginning of the episode. And the police are right outside the building wanting to blast them when they launch off. But when it gets to 0 and the fireworks go off afterward, and the ship uses the fireworks to escape, and then the police start blasting, but they can't see where the ship is because of the fireworks. And then the human officer that was with the robot chasing them and saying that he can't see them, but it is kind of pretty though. And then they manage to get away in the ship, and then basically, and they're wondering Leela's still wondering what they can do for job purposes, and then Farnsworth explains that he started a side job, which is a delivery business, sort of similar to what I do with my parents. So I deliver statements for them as a side job, but in this case of the series, he delivers has a package delivery service so that he can fund his research, and then they say that they can do it. He thinks that they can do it because he needs a new crew, and then when Bender overhears that part, he wonders what happened to the old crew, and then that's when Farnsworth starts to mourn them, but he tries to hide it, what happened to the old crew will be explained in one of the later episodes. I'm not going to state which one, but since this is the first season, I don't want to bother explaining which one until I get to the season that has to do with it. But anyway, Farnsworth said that doesn't matter because what matters is he doesn't need all he needs is a new crew, and then basically, Leela is thanking him for the offer, but they don't have the right career chips, and basically that won't be a problem. Professor Farnsworth tells them that won't be a problem because he saved the career chips from his previous crew, which is basically in this folder that's the intestines of a creature, and then basically they put the career chips in, and then Fry wonders what his job is gonna be, and then Farnsworth, well, are they gonna be going, like, basically Fry wonders if they're gonna be traveling to other planets, blasting people, and then basically Farnsworth said that if you mean by blasting, delivering packages, yes, it's like I said, it's a side business he created to help fund his research. Basically, and then Fry wonders what he's gonna be able to do, and then Farnsworth tells him that he'll be in charge of making sure the package reaches its destination, which is basically saying that he's a delivery boy. And then Fry hears that, and then like, so I'm a delivery boy, and then basically Farnsworth says yes, and then Fry's like, alright, I'm a delivery boy, which is kind of a little bit redundant because he didn't want to be a delivery boy at the beginning of the episode, but he's a delivery boy at the end. I just find that a little funny. But anyway, that's actually gonna end this video, guys. So if you guys like this video, just please give it the real best you guys can when I post it, and I'll see you guys probably sometime tomorrow or something for the next video, or the day after. But until then, guys, just stay safe, happy, and healthy, and see you next time. And like I always tell you with this series, find out about